buenos dias, buenas noches, buenas tardes, whenever you are listening or watching. We want to welcome you to this extra special episode of the Guiricast. It is, of course, the 2024-25 end of season awards show. The entrance music there was quite a surprise, so take my hat off to Chris Marquez for that one. The red carpet has been laid outside Guiricast headquarters this evening for this event, and you know what? Award ceremonies often bring out the stars. And tonight, I've got three of them live with me. We've also got our Malaguista Sergio floating in the background. That does, of course, mean that we are nearly a full house. I thought we would be a full house, but Mr. Dickybo himself is obviously too busy these days. So firstly, I'll start in welcoming Mr. Joe Edwards. How are you doing, good sir?
Hello, Luke. Chris, Paul, not too bad. Very, very excited to be here for my first Guiricast Awards show. Really looking forward to it. And I have to agree, what an intro that was. Also caught me off guard. So hats off to you, Chris.
Fantastic, Joe. And you say you've got a 3-day weekend in Germany?
Exactly. I think the same in the Netherlands as well. I think it's in all places in Europe apart from, I guess, the UK. But yeah. Can't complain. So I'm not here.
We get the bad end of every stick. Next, I will go to a friend to all. It's Paul Hennihan. How are you, Paul?
Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, Luke. I'm fine, thank you. Yes, I'm actually off on Monday as well, so I've taken a day off. So you might be the odd one out here, Luke. To recover from tonight, obviously. The glorious awards.
I think I've got the bad end of the stick here. And somebody who I know definitely hasn't got a bad end of the stick living in the place where we'd all love to be. Finally in the studio is a man that's been here since day one of the Guiricast. It's Senor Marquez. Chris, ¿cómo estás?
I think you're all undressed for awards night.
You don't know what I'm wearing for my trousers. Maybe I'm wearing suit trousers.
Let's keep this PG. It might be an awards night, but come on, guys.
And it's not only Alex Ashmore who can pull off a bow tie.
He'd be proud, I reckon.
How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing very well. I have off on Monday as well, so
oh my
you're
God,
the only one working on Monday.
So is this down to there's going to be some cervezas drunk tonight, then, boys, or is this just because it's you guys generally live in better countries than I do?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the reason.
You can so underdressed.
For anybody who isn't actually watching the award ceremony, Chris Marquez is currently dazzling a silky suit, and he's found a dicky bow from somewhere. How easy was it to find a dicky bow down on the Beno Medina in the Pueblo?
What is a dicky bow?
That thing around your neck. That's why they call him Mr. Dicky Bow.
You can find them anywhere. I mean, it's not something you can only find in England, Luke. I think it's you can find them all over the world.
It's just I would not know where to buy a dicky bow in a PG shop, shall we say?
Maybe you should go to serious shops and not only the souvenirs ones. And the
maybe. But anyway, away from the dicky bow. As we mentioned earlier, guys, we have some video clips casting their votes, mainly from Sergio Herrero Hurst. Again, Alex was meant to, but Alex is too busy for us guys these days. All I would like to do right now, guys, is just say if we have a cerveza or a water or anything, just salud amigos and well done for a great season on the Guiricast. We have 9 categories. We have 9 categories to discuss on the show, and there will be a winner announced for each category, guys. To all listeners, feel free to send in your winners as well for each category. By that, I mean, get at us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you'd like to. Just put your views across. There is no right and wrong answers, and that is the same for all us in the Guiricast. This is purely your views. So I think it is time to fire the first category at you guys, and it's a positive one. With it's a category for a player, and that is going to be who has been the surprise player of the season. I will go to Paul for your answer first.
Okay, I struggled with this because there's been a lot of good players this season. good performances. However, I think the surprise for me was Julian Labete, because I didn't know a lot about him when he signed at the start of the season. He was coming into a team that had quite a lot of wingers already there, with the likes of Kevin, Arnacho, Maloney, Anthony Todd, Larubia playing in that sort of area, vying for the same similar areas. And we also signed back Yanis Rahmani as well. So Labete for me was an unknown, but he was a surprise coming into the team and playing the majority of the second half of the season, right up front with the likes of Dione or Chupe. And when he was playing as well, I felt he was very, very forward thinking, and had a very good second half of the season when he was a more regular starter in the team. So that's my surprise of the season.
Paul Hennigan goes with Labete. I'm going to go to my good friend Malaguista, Sergio.
Hello everyone, I am Sergio and I'm going to go through my Guiricast Awards on the 24-25 season. So yeah, let's get started. Who has been the surprise of the season for me on this one? I need to go with two players. I'm going to go with Dione and Dani Sanchez. I think they've been really good at the beginning of the season. I think no one really expected a lot of these two players, and I think it's been totally the opposite. I think they've been really good. Dione with 7 goals, if I'm not wrong, and Dani Sanchez with really, really good performances. So yeah, I think I have to stick with these two.
Perfect, Sergio. Chris Marquez.
Difficult one. But I'm going with 2 players because I'm one of the founding fathers of the Guiricast. I don't care what you all say. But I'm going with Dani Sanchez and Dione. And you can choose one of those. I think Dione because we weren't very happy with him last season. And then this season he proved himself to be a different Dione because he played in another position. The position I said last season we needed to play him in. I think we saw a very different Dione. And Dani Sanchez because he became very important for the team, I think. So I think those two are the main surprises.
Yeah, great answer, Chris. Joe.
Yeah, so I only have one player. I'm not gonna go for a cop out with 2, but I actually had Dani Sanchez as well. I think probably have a clear winner here, but probably for the same reasons that everyone mentioned, especially after December, he really stepped up. Really, I think obviously Pellicer likes to rotate, but in general, when he performed, he came up with some big goals. He's also a joint most assists with only 3 assists, but still joint second most assists. Obviously, a few moments were a little bit wobbly, but in general, I think he had a great season, and I think not all Malaguistas expected that. So, surprise player for me is Dani Sanchez.
Perfect. My final one is the player who's surprised me the most is Dani Sanchez. I think he's had a great season. Last summer, I thought he'd be second choice at very best, maybe even playing a cheerleader role. We've seen how important he is in the dressing room, but I think he's been great this season. His defensive work has improved so much. He's added goals to his game, like Joe says, and just in general, a real fan favorite around La Soleda. So counting that up, we have 1, 2, 3. We have 4 votes for Senor Dani Sanchez. Honorable mention, as Chris did and as Sergio did for Dione. I think he surprised us all really how he came back after last summer. Don't you guys think?
I think so, but yeah. The only reason I didn't go for him because I kind of really rate him, and maybe it's a bit difficult to give a veteran surprise player, but I can understand why people did. I think he's great. It's a shame that it seems he won't be there next season.
I think from my point of view, I think he was peripheral last season with Roberto playing, but he had that in his game. And with Roberto going and him having the, I suppose, responsibility of playing the lone striker role, I was expecting him to be good at that anyway. So to me, it wasn't such a surprise, given that he was getting the game time and he was getting that responsibility now with Roberto leaving.
Interesting answer with Julian Lebete, Paul. And I totally agree. I think maybe more the latter end of the season in my eyes, where he really has become a very, very crucial part of our team, and definitely going forward.
Absolutely. I think he was in and out of the team to start with. Obviously trying to find his feet with a new club. But yeah, the latter part of the season, I think he was crucial for the continuity of the front players. And he cemented that place and made it his own. So that was why I chose him. And perhaps not knowing much about him when he came in as well.
Yeah, I think that's why, as Lebete came in as the unknown, we'd heard he were a decent player and everything, but we'd never seen him. We'd never heard anything about him. So, I'm excited for Lebete next season, and I'm sure we will be talking much more about Lebete. Unfortunately, guys, it's time to speak a little bit negative about the player here. So, Chris Marquez, who has been the disappointment of the season for yourself?
No, I'm not taking this. When there's positives, you let Paul start. And when there's negatives, you let me start.
Lo siento.
You're doing it on purpose.
Paul, you want me to go first?
No, I'll go first. And my logical choice would be Ramani. But I don't think it is Ramani for me. I think it's Kevin. His attitude on the pitch, everything around him. And if you look at Kevin, his stats, which we looked up, 95 matches. What was it? 5 goals?
Yeah.
95 matches, and I think 3 assists. Over 5,000 minutes he played for Malaga over the past 3 seasons. That's ridiculous. I mean, if you look at the stats, how could he be here last season? It makes no sense. 3 seasons at Malaga and 5 goals and 3 assists in a winger position.
Yeah, to be fair, Chris, I'm going to jump in here with my vote as well. For me, it is Kevin Medina. He set the season off on fire with that thunderous strike away in Racing Club de Ferrol on the opening day of the season. I'll be honest, besides that, I can't really remember Kevin doing anything on the pitch. Probably more off the pitch, if anything. It was meant to be a season for himself where he needed to improve to show Malaga fight and determination to get the new contract. After the goal in Ferrol, I thought he would have done that, but he really hasn't achieved anything. Joe, I'll go to you next, pal.
Yeah, so there is exact words I wrote down is it Kevin? Is this harsh? But yeah, I also went for Kevin. So I guess we have to say again, sorry to our good friend Matt. I think we've said it so many times, we're always waiting for something to happen with him. But when you're saying that for 3 years, I think he's also in his mid-20s. But just based on this season, it hasn't been enough, especially when a lot of players have kicked on, like La Rubia, for example. It's not happened with Kevin. It's frustrating. Only started 15 games this season, and like we mentioned, Dione also on his way out. So yeah, for me, it's Kevin. I agree with the both of you.
Next up, Malaga, Dundee. I'm going to go to Malaga. Here it is, Sergio.
What has been the disappointment of the season? On this one, I'm going to go with Victor Garcia. I think he's a player that in the last season in Primera Federación was really important for Malaga. This season, I think he's not been at his best level. I think it's been quite difficult for him to adapt to the division. So yeah, on this one, I'm going to go with Victor. What has been
Great answer from Sergio there. Paul.
4 from 5 then, I think. I've got Kevin as my disappointing player of the season. I think you mentioned there, Joe, about kicking on the season, and that's the words I've written down, exactly the same. He's not been the worst player, but he's been the biggest disappointment for me. This season, it was the one where exactly what I've written down here, kick on and give us a bit more creativity, a bit more excitement, and chip in with goals and assists. And he failed to do that in his performances when he was on the pitch, which probably resulted in the lack of game time for him, coupled with the performances from other players in his position. So yeah, my disappointment of the season is Kevin Medina as well.
Congratulations or commiserations to Kevin Medina for winning that award. Guys, just a little chat about Kevin Medina. Obviously, he has left Malaga now. Has he gone out on the best terms, do we think, Chris?
Well, the thing is with Kevin Medina, Malaga sat down with him, did him an offer. He didn't think it was enough. And then Malaga thought, well, then if you don't accept this offer, we are not offering anymore. So he maybe was expecting another higher bid from Malaga. But I mean, if you want to earn more money, which I can understand, but then you also have to perform. And if you don't perform, I don't really understand why you're asking money after so many matches, so scoring 5 goals, 3 assists in 3 seasons. I mean, everybody loves him. He probably is a great guy. All the kids love him. But it's football. I mean, if you don't perform, you're out. And
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that's the main point, Chris. If you're not performing, it doesn't matter. I mean, we've all been in La Rosaleda, and there's many Kevin Medina shirts, a fan favourite who I don't think he's really kicked on. He's got every attribute, Joe, to have been a good player. But as Chris has just said then, 5 goals, 5 assists in nearly 5 years worth of football. What has Kevin missed in, I dare say, the last 2 seasons? I don't think he's really done much.
Yeah, and I think it's difficult to say opportunities. I think he's had a lot of opportunities. And no, it's just football, isn't it? Like some players make it, some players don't, and a lot of it is down to the attitude because we can see there's talent, but talent's not enough. And I think there's been a running theme here that he's going to end up in Cyprus, and maybe that'd be the best case for him.
But you, I mean, he is a talent, but there's also a moment that you're not a talent anymore. You're just a field footballer.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened with him maybe 2 seasons ago already, because it doesn't come out.
It's as if time's caught up with Kevin's career, Paul.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, young guy coming in, and he doesn't look any different now than he did when he started. So he's not progressed as much as you would have hoped. And as Joe says, is that down to attitude, or is it down to the lack of possibly hard work in training? And don't want to be cruel here, but is there a not a lack of understanding, but a lack of listening to the manager, asking him what the manager's actually asking him to do, or a lack of understanding of what the manager wants him to do?
That's always what I've been saying, Paul. He has the talent. He can play football. He can defend. The only thing is, he can play football. He just doesn't understand it.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand where to position, where to go. Doesn't see the options. They are there for him. It's not talent. He just doesn't understand football.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you look at Busquets, for example, or Xavi, they know football better than anyone. They know where to stand, where the ball's coming, where the ball's going, when it's the moment to, I don't know, to take a go forward yourself, or when it's better to pass the ball. He just doesn't see it.
For me as well with Kevin, probably since I would say the turn of the year, his confidence has really, really gone. And Kevin plays best when we call him a shithouse, when he wants to be the best player on the pitch, when he's causing trouble. He's not done that. I mean, the amount of times, even in La Rosaleda, where nobody turns on the players, even in La Rosaleda, Kevin's decision-making at times has been so questionable. It's brought the crowd into whistles, jeers, and it really knocked the stuffing out of Kevin. And I do believe this, out of all the contract the negotiations, what's been going off, for me, the Kevin deal never really got going. There were never any rumours about him signing a deal, was there anything? It was just as if like Malaga was happy to see Kevin go. Obviously, there was the bid from Granada in the summer, and looking back at it, 800,000 euros for Kevin Medina.
They should have taken it.
We would take that right now, guys, wouldn't we? But whilst we're speaking of negativity, and I'll use the word disappointment, the next category is what has been the worst moment of the season for you? bearing in mind that this could be a player, a happening, something in the game, something off the field. Paul, I'll go to you first.
Me again first. Okay. I struggled with this to think of something that was really bad. So the only thing that I could really think of, I mean, other than some of the performances, but we'll go into that later on. The worst moment for me, and it was in one of the games, was Manu Molina's own goal against Oviedo. We were 1-1. We had a really good game, getting us back into on terms, 1-1, going into injury time. They battled and struggled away to get back on terms and potentially a draw. And for that one brain fart of a moment, the ball comes in. There's nobody near him at the back post. And bear in mind, we were getting to near the end of the season here. A draw in Oviedo would have been a fantastic result. And he just blooters it into his own net from 2 yards with nobody near him. So for me, it was a hilarity moment as well. But it was the worst moment of the season. That you're thinking, well, what were you thinking? You know,
it was in my best goals of the seasons list.
Yeah, I knew that was going to come. But this category is going to be a cool category, guys, because it's going to refresh your memory for something. We might all have different things here. Joe, I'll go to you next.
Oh, I'm really sorry to be boring, but I had exactly the same as Paul. Because, I mean, Paul's already mentioned a lot of the reasons, and it's difficult because it also, like I said, now you look back at it, now that Malaga survived, you kind of see it in the comedy value. But after that game, Malaga lost that game and then 2 others, and then they drew. And I think after that moment, there was a lot of pessimism in the fan base that there's a chance we could get relegated. I think from that moment leading into what happened for that month afterwards, it was a potentially critical moment of the season. Yeah, maybe there's ones that guys have got, but for me, it was a moment that could have been catastrophic. And like Paul said, it would have been an amazing point up north, but luckily in the end, it wasn't too
damaging. Chris Marquez.
I thought it was a great goal. A real stunner. So I'm not taking that. I will say I have 2 moments. One is a Malaga Club de Football moment, which I will start with, and that is the loss against Huesca. And why? Because I think that's the moment when we lost 3 in a row, where I think we all just were down and relegation was really close.
Yeah, we was definitely stuck in the mud there, and you couldn't really see a way out of it. Part 2, Chris.
I think the leaving of Nick and Matt on the Guiricast cost. I think that was also a shitty moment. I think still think it's a shitty. But on the other hand, we also got some great new signings, but it's also a shitty moment of the season, I think.
Yeah, and I think that one comes from the heart as well, doesn't it? We will go to your Costa del Sol colleague as well. We'll speak to Sergio.
What has been the worst moment for you of the season? I think this one, I'm going to go with Huesca's defeat away from home in the last minute. I think it was a moment of the season where everything was getting really complicated at the bottom of the table. Everything was getting really tight, and we were starting to doubt of Beather and the team. So yeah, I think that was the worst moment for all the Malaguistas this season.
Sergio doubling it up. So what
I haven't really, because I was preparing everything and I didn't watch any of it, but he has to pick the same moment.
Yeah. So I've got Sergio and Chris Marquez sat on the top of my screen. I've got Paul, Henhan, and Joe sat on the bottom. Do I go with Manu in Oviedo? Do I go with a Huesca loss? Guys, it's going to be a dead rubber because I've got neither of them. For me, the worst moment of the season, maybe more of a romantic reason, I guess, but was away in Almeria when we saw Ramon leaving the field once more, this time in tears. We know how influential Ramon is to our team. He was starting to look sharper. Malaga were ticking a little bit more. And we know as soon as Ramon leaves the field, especially in tears, he's done for. And although the injury didn't seem much when he walked off the pitch, I think deep down we all realised that we won't be seeing Ramon for a hell of a lot of time. And he's maybe the best player at the club when he's fit. Unfortunately, we haven't seen him fit for the best part of 3 years. So I guess I will go to, as he called himself earlier, the founder of the Guiricast, the chairman of the Guiricast. Chris, is it Huesca or is it Manu in Oviedo?
I think if we can't pick something, because if it's a draw, then we maybe have to put in another option, which I'll bring in, and you guys can vote. It's Luke on the day we went to Van Sur.
I remember that. I have the T-shirt.
When you were there was this home match where Luke came this season, and I don't know if you were there, Paul.
Which match was it?
I think you were here. Which one was it?
God knows.
Where,
I think it was Racing.
Okay.
Luke got off a flight very early in the morning, so it all makes sense because traveling is very well. I don't know. It kicks in like. So Luke and his wife Laura flew in early morning, and then Luke went on a Cerveza day on a review, and then the moment I arrived at Hermanos Madrid, he was not wasted. He was next level. He was so drunk. He was so drunk.
I'm struggling to see where this is coming to a category.
That possibly looks best.
Basically, Chris is just explaining to everybody what they know, that I do like a good beer, and this day I could not take my beer.
No, but that could be your worst moment of the season as well, Luke.
Oh, I've had some bad moments, to be honest.
But I think we are going with as the chairman of the Guiricast, we are going with Huesca, because you can't, if you score such a goal, you can't blame it as you can't make it the worst moment of the season. I mean, it was a stunner.
I see both sides, but as you've said, obviously, Joe, the loss in Huesca really came at a vital time of the season as well, didn't it?
Yeah, and to be honest, both I believe the own goal and that loss was all in the same period anyway. So probably that period itself was just that worst moment, because that's when everyone started to have doubts about being safe. So, and
the rest starting to gain points. That's important as well, because Eldense were getting some points, Tenerife were getting
a great run of form.
Also were getting some points.
Yeah,
it's that period. Let's say that period.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Maybe we should.
Yeah, maybe. Paul, is that the time? Is that the time when Malaga's look changed? I guess. Did they realise that they really need to improve, or else we are in the shit. We are in Primera.
Yes and no. I don't think we were playing too badly, to be honest. But it was just bad defending and bad moments around those games where we lost games where we could have been picking up the draw. But when you don't pick up the draw and you start losing games like that, and it accumulates, and it was, as we've all said, the accumulation of those games where we were getting dragged further and further or closer to that relegation zone because everybody else was picking up the points. So, yeah.
Right. I don't know about you guys.
I think it's a moment where the players also stop believing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit of a worrying time for them, wasn't it? Yeah.
And what you guys
always nice press in Malaga also was starting to have doubt. So the press conferences of Pellicer were very different in that moment than they were in the rest of the season, basically.
Yeah, I think one of you guys mentioned that this was the point when the heavy pressure came on Sergio Pellicer, at the point where many of us lost faith. We all know that everybody's 50-50 on Sergio Pellicer when it comes to Malaga, but I think this was the real time when a lot of us, including myself, really turned us back on Sergio Pellicer and would have happily seen him out the door then. Thankfully, he improved. And improving is one thing we're going to do now, guys. We are going to go to happier places. We are going to ask, what has been your best moment of the season? I'll go to Joe for this one.
All right. Yeah. I mean, obviously, one moment that stands out to everyone probably is the day that safety was secured, but maybe that's a bit too boring. But there's one moment that really stood out to me that I remember from earlier in the season, and it was the last minutes of the game against Granada, where Nelson Monte equalized, then gave away a penalty, and then Herrera made that incredible save. And I think it's just a moment against Andalusian rival, and it kind of just cemented Herrera's importance as Malaga's standout player, most important player. It was another big moment in the season, and it was just like a crazy few minutes and ended on a positive note. And that's just something that really stood out to me and something I remember well. So I went for the last moments of the 2-2 at Granada.
Well, great answer. Great answer. We'll go with Chris.
Well, I have a few moments. For this one, I picked 3.
Okay, now. No, you're chairman,
but it's
did we have 3 good seasons? Did we have 3 good moments all season?
Yeah. I will tell you what. Best moment was the win for me was the win against Sporting de Gijón, because that moment we know we were safe and it was crazy in La Rosaleda. But the most important moment, and I also wanted to mention that, was the match against Castellón, because that at home, because that was the moment the beliefs came back, and I think if we would have lost that, there would be a chance we wouldn't be sitting here so happily. So most important is Castellón, and then the third one, that was probably the only one I had an orgasm in La Rosaleda this season, and that was against Granada. So I had what was it? Best moment, most important moment, and orgasm moment.
So I'm going to write down. It's got to be the orgasm one, surely.
No, the best moment was Sporting,
But
I also had to mention the other 2.
Yeah, you definitely did, Chris, in true Chris Marquez style. Paul, we'll go your way.
First of all, I want to Stuart's inquiry, because I think Joe's been looking at my answers as well.
Oh, not you two again,
because I've got exactly what I've got written down. The best moment, which I've got 2, which obviously one didn't involve Malaga, was Castellón scoring the 85th minute equaliser against Eldense, and that confirmed permanencia. But the best moment and stroke funniest moment I've got was the Granada penalty in the 90-plus minute when Sean Wiseman strolled up in Nueva Los Carmenes. The crowd thought, "Oh, here we go. This is it. We're going to win 3-2 here," having just lost an equaliser moments before, and then Wiseman hitting an absolutely terrible penalty and Herrera saving it. So yeah, that was my best stroke funniest moment. The best for Malaga, but funniest in the sense that the Granada supporters basically shut up after that.
Right, let's see if Sergio has been invited in Paul and Joe's group chat as well.
Best moment of the season, I think the best moment of the season, personally, I think it was against Sporting de Gijón at home not long ago, when we got the 3 points that meant us safety for next season. It's an incredible day, doing it from a 1-0, coming back from a 1-0 result as well. So yeah, really important for the club, and for me, that was the best moment of the season.
Chris, are you sure?
So I'm guessing I'm not invited in all these group chats then.
I don't know.
Sorry.
I don't know.
Sergio and Chris have been texting.
I
Paul
can't
and
help.
Joe's been texting.
I can't help that boy's the only guy in here with brains.
Right, again, guys, I'm going to go solo. I guess. So the moment of the season for myself was a 94th minute winner away in Cartagena from Rocco Baturina. Such an important goal at a vital time in the season. Obviously, we played the bottom 2 teams in the league back-to-back, Tenerife and Cartagena. And if Malaga didn't get anything but 6 points from this result, I think at the time we was quite screwed. Rocco scored a great flicked goal and sent the Malaguistas home believing more than ever. that survival is definitely on a key. So again, I suppose I have a dead rubber. So this time I'll go to the newest member of the Guiricast, Paul Henahan. Which way are you swaying for this one?
I'm not going to do a Chris and pick my own one, so I'll go. I mean, the best moment and most important moment was Permanente for Malaga. So it's between obviously Castellón getting equaliser, but we were by that point it was mathematically possible we could go down, but it was a 99% chance that we weren't. So I would put the Sporting Gijón moment as the winner, the win against them as the best moment.
I think the bracket I've just put up on the screen there, Malaga surviving. Shall we just put it
that's
there?
fair. Yeah.
All the moments lead to that anyway. So
yeah, exactly. Everything's important. And just going back to Joe's original answer in Granada, crazy game. Malaga was actually fantastic in the first half. I believe we went 1-0 ahead, then absolutely fell apart. We went behind, and then Antonito equalised, and then Granada really came onto our goal. But the Nelson Monte goal in the 93rd minute, we actually did a live stream for this game. We went crazy, and then for Nelson Monte to then commit the foul 2 minutes after, we said at the time, Joe, you wasn't part of the Guiricast at that time, but I just want to ask you, so if you're a penalty taker against Don Alfonso Herrero, the best goalkeeper in this league, is that in your mind as well? Do you feel like you have to do something different against Herrero?
I guess it depends how confident you are in yourself. If you're Messi or Cole Palmer, then maybe don't worry about them. But yeah, but I mean, I had to mention it. But you know, when you know you've got a goalkeeper that intimidating, that imposing right in front of you, of course it plays in your mind. Especially a pressure penalty in the last kick of the game. Like, yeah, it doesn't help. If you're against I don't know, can think of about Onana, then maybe it's a bit different. But when you're against the best goalkeeper in the league, then yeah, it's going to come in your mind a little bit.
So the winner of the best moment award is technically the victory in Sporting, which Chris and Sergio texted each other. Then Paul went along with that. But overall, Malaga surviving is our moment of the season, and we are going to stay on a high, shall we say? This category is going to be who has been your signing of the season. And for that, I am going to go to our Malaguista Yorkshire lad. I'm going to go to Sergio first for his answer.
Best signing of the season for me, this one's quite easy. I'm going to go with Luismi. I think he's an outstanding player for the division. When he's not been available, we've really seen how Malaga struggled. So yeah, Luismi as a player for the club.
Straightforward from Sergio there, and I think that may be a popular one with the gang. I can see Joe nodding, so Joe Edwards, I'll go for you next.
No, I went for Rocco actually. No, I went for Luismi.
Okay.
No, I agree with Sergio. I think, like, he obviously, I'll add what he said, like kind of like a 7 out of 10 performer every game. Of course, a few injuries, but he brought real solidity to the midfield, and just hope that he'll be as important next season, especially if Manu Molina leaving. So yeah, Luismi for me is the standout signing for sure.
Yeah, I think Luismi is going to be a very popular one in this chart. However, I've gone a little bit off just because I'm a big Luismi fan. I thought I want to mention somebody else. So obviously it's a close one between Luismi and this player, but just nicking it for me because of his form after Christmas. Paul mentioned him earlier, but I think Julian Lebete has become a key part of this team. The partnership between himself and La Rubia really makes Malaga tick when we are ticking. I know it's not very often, but when we are, Luismi is a vital player in this team. I think he was injured quite a bit in the second half, and I guess I remember more about the second half than the first half, unfortunately. So my one is Julian Lebete. Chris Marquez.
Luismi.
Yeah.
Why? Because when he was injured, we started losing. When he came back, we started winning again. It's very easy. We can't play without Luismi.
I am a huge Luismi fan, by the way. I just needed to go rogue. Paul Henahan, is this a 4-on-1 Luismi victory?
It is, yes. Luismi Sanchez for me was the standout signing, which wasn't really hard given we only signed out 4 players. If you don't count the people, the players stepping up from the from the second team. But yes, I mean, I can't add anything else. He's been a standout as a holding midfielder. And as Chris alluded to there, I mean, we lost games when he wasn't playing, and when he came back, he shored up that position. And when Manuel Molina wasn't playing, what stood out for me was that his chasing of the ball, him and Ethan Marino, the partnership there, he chased all the balls, and Ethan just sat and cut out all the passes, and that wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for Luismi chasing and harassing the midfielders. So for me, yeah, it was Luismi.
Yeah, guys, I could not agree more that Luismi Sanchez should definitely win this award. Just a bit on Luismi. I was a huge fan before I signed for Malaga. He basically stood out for me, obviously wearing the rugby skull cap. Joe, how important can a player like Luismi be for a talent such as Izan Moreno, who, like Paul said, they played side by side, but Izan is only a kid still. To be learning off such a mature and experienced player like Luismi, it can only bring him on, surely.
Of course, that's why a blend of experience and youth is so important in football. And yeah, having a player like that with so much Segunda experience at a very decent level, almost at high level, it can only be good for young players. And again, let's see what happens in the summer. But I guess there's a chance that could be the midfield pair going into the season as it currently stands. So yeah, having that player to learn from can only be good for Isan.
Chris, we just mentioned then, and although they're not really the same kind of player, do you think the resurgence of Izan Moreno and the partnership between Izan Moreno and Luismi towards the end of the season, and the obvious oncoming star Rafa, do we think this had a say in why Manuel Molina's contract has expired?
It shouldn't be. And I don't think so. Because Izan Marino and Luismi are very defensive. And I think Manuel Molina is more just a normal midfielder. Not very defensive. So I hope this isn't Malaga going full back on defensive midfielders. I don't know. I don't think so.
I think now is probably a perfect time just to say from the Guiricast, we are all big admirers of Manuel Molina. Obviously, a former member of the Guiricast, Nick Bell, called him the Pirlo of Huelva. And I had my doubts for a hell of a long time about Manuel Molina. I didn't rate him at all. And then I think it was last Christmas, he really kicked on. And yeah, one of the first names on team sheet for me for the majority of this season. Kind of petered out towards the end, but again, maybe that was just negative noise. But yeah, a great player from Manuel Molina, and I'm glad that we got to see Manuel Molina in a Malaga shirt.
I think he won my heart last season away in Granada when he played a very good match, and he heard in halftime that his mom passed away.
Yeah. And I think that summed the player up, didn't it? The passion what he had for this team. I thought you would have said then, Chris, that the real moment for you is the goal in Oviedo.
Yeah, great. I've said it then. Now, what a goal, man! If I score one own goal in my life, I want it to be exactly the same.
Interestingly, that you're talking about this right now, Chris, and I pray to God that nobody's got this as their answer. But we are going to go for the goal of the season. And I'm going to go a little bit different here, guys, because I've already spoken about my choice. So I feel I should get my boring answer out of the way first. But for me, the goal of the season is Kevin Medina in Racing Club de Ferrol. The first game of the season, a 30-yard thunder bastard straight into the top corner. I can't see anything but Kevin Medina. There was one close second, and I imagine somebody may have it. But, Paul, your goal of the season.
Well, Kevin was my third choice. But my goal of the season, for various reasons, was the one you mentioned earlier on, Rocco Batterina's goal away to Cartagena. It was a great volley, great turn. When the ball's in the air there, the movement from his body to be able to put that in the far corner was a fantastic volley. Great cross as well. But not just the goal and the technique to put that in, it was the importance of it as well. As you mentioned, look, 2 games back to back against Cartagena and Tenerife. We were struggling against Cartagena, and in injury time to produce that sort of finish. I thought it was a fantastic goal and a very important goal for that point at that point in the season. So that's my goal. Closely followed by Danny Sanchez, Thunder Bastard against Almeria.
And I love the way a Scotsman says Thunder Bastard. That is how it should be said. The phone is ringing. I'm going back to Malaga with Sergio.
For what it meant for the fans, doing it in front of La Rosa for the season. Yeah, I'm going to say it again. Chupete's second goal against Sporting de Gijón. For what it meant for the fans, doing it in front of La Rosaleda. So yeah, I'm going to go with Chupete's second goal. Chumbo of the season. This one's quite...
Oh,
nearly.
Sergio going a little bit quick there. See, I've got a feeling because somebody in the group chat mentioned this goal earlier in our group chat, and it seems that they've got their own group chat. So, Chris Marquez, what is your goal of the season?
I have to go with my mini-me. My mini-me already gave the answer, the Chupete goal. And I will tell you why.
Is this how you got Sergio on board, Chris? Is this how you got Sergio on board? He says, you have to copy what I say.
No, not at all. Let me start with my top 3. On the 3rd place, I have the Rocco Batudina goal. What a goal. A very important goal. A great goal at a very important moment. My second choice, so on my top 2, is the Mano Molina goal in Oviedo. It has to be. It has to be.
Of course.
It has to be. And my number 1 goal is probably more important because we were losing 1-0 against Sporting Gijón at home. Such an important match. He makes the first one, and then for the second one, I mean, look, guys, everybody who's listening, this is our 4th or 5th review or end of season award show. Every season we go with a screamer from outside the box. We had Haitam, we had Kevin, I think we had Haitam again. It's always shots from outside the box. But how many times did we see a goal like Chupete's one, the 2-1, the how do you call it, the ball like that? A goal like that behind his
back heel.
A back heel goal in La Rosaleda over the last 6-7 years. We've seen none. And when you do it at the end of the match, which gives you, because it's that goal that gives you the permanencia. And if you do it that way, and you are Chupete, a youth player, then I think you're bigger than Messi. And Lamine Yamal should clean your boots for you.
I love that. I love
praise.
That. Chris, just to clear up, obviously people are listening, it is Chupete's first goal against Sporting, not the second goal. The flicked goal. The flick goal. Yeah. It's like you say, either way, Chupete was the star of the show that night. Joe?
So I actually had Chupete as a second place. I'm still not sure. Maybe you also have a better feeling if it got a deflection, because the direction changing was crazy. Maybe it was just an incredible flick, but of course, still trying it and it coming off is incredible. Me and Paul were very close in this one, but I went for Danny Sanchez. I went for a screamer. Like, it was just like an arrow, like straight, perfect, like same level. Just such a sweet hit. Love those sort of goals. I can understand why, Chupete as well for the importance, and of course, goals like that are beautiful, less common, but the one at Almeria stood out for me from Danny Sanchez, so I went for that one. But we've been fortunate to see so many great goals this season, because there's not been many goals, but there's been a lot of good ones.
So, guys, the winner of the goal of the season is that very, very vital Chupete goal against Sporting Gijón. Take your pick. The first one, the second one, they were both fantastic goals, and they meant so much to the club. Just going back to that night in Almeria, Paul, at a time where Malaga, again, we're really struggling to score goals like we do all the time. But I believe Ramon had just came off the pitch at this point. So very much heads up their arse. Almeria were by far the better team and could have been 3 or 4 up. But Dani Sanchez, how has he brought goals into his game this season? He's got, I believe it's like 3, something we never saw from him last season.
Yeah, and I mean, 2 out of the 3 have been screamers. I mean, the Tenerife one he didn't hit it as quite as sweetly as the Almeria one, but he hit it, which eluded the keeper and the defenders and went in the bottom corner as well. I think he's got a license to get forward. And we've already spoken earlier about Pellicer's liking for rotating the fullbacks. And I think he does it depending on who he picks fullbacks depending on who we're playing. And Dani Sanchez is obviously the one that, if he wants him to get forward, he's got a license to get forward. And I mean, apart from the goals, he's had a couple of screaming shots that have just gone past the post and stuff as well. So it's good to see. And obviously, surprise of the season as well. Dani Sanchez was there as well for a few of you. And I thought he was that type of player anyway. So to get him to get that going forward and to be able to put yourself in those positions to get those goals, and he's got a cracking shot on him as well. So I think it's the license to get forward and have a shot at goal whenever he gets the chance.
Yeah, and it's really changed his game. It's been fantastic to see. I'm sure everybody on this podcast right now and every Malaga fan will agree that every goal is goal of the fucking season, as long as we get to celebrate for Malaga. Unfortunately, guys, it's that time of game where I'm going to take us way, way down. It is the chumbo of the season. For anybody who doesn't know, you should know by now, although it took me 3 years to realise what a chumbo actually was. The chumbo is effectively the worst player of the season for us. Not an award what you really want to give out, but we've got to. We have bad players.
Someone has to win it.
We have good players. We have bad players. So it's about time that we called a few of them out. I will go with... I'm actually going to go with Sergio first on this one. So here's Sergio.
This one's quite easy as well. I'm going to go with Yanis Rahmani. I've said it in podcasts before. Absolutely terrible player. Star prize. Who has been your player of the season? For me, I'm going to go with David Larrubia. When he's been...
So no holding back from Sergio there. The recording went on a little bit. David Larrubia was not his chumbo of the year. It was, in fact, Yanis Rahmani. Joe?
Yeah, I can see why Sergio went for that. Went for Rahmani. However, I went for a player that's probably frustrated everyone this season. Everyone's spoken about him so many times, but I went for Rocco. Like, he came back to Spanish football. He had a great chance of leaving his mark, like being the main striker. He was competing with obviously an aging Dione, Castel, who was never really given the chance. But in the end, he lost his place to a player that was spent 75% of the season playing in the 5th division. And he was completely outshone by him. And Malaga struggled mostly up front this season. And he was a part of that because he didn't contribute enough. Like, of course, you mentioned that big goal away at Cartagena, but apart from that, it was really poor. And I don't know if you guys expected more, but even about the expectations, it was not good. So yeah, my chumbo, unfortunately, of the season, someone has to win it, is Rocco Batarina.
And unfortunately, Joe, I'm the exact same on Rocco. We needed a number 9 at the beginning of the season after losing Roberto. And I never really believed that Rocco was going to be that guy. I wished he was that guy, but minus scoring that most important goal in Cartagena, which I mentioned, I just think he's been terrible. I really do. He cannot hold the ball up. He's a big boy when you see him live as well. He doesn't win headers, which you'd think would be his game. His first touch was in La Rio Medina half the time. It was such a bad touch. So unfortunately, guys, my chumbo is Rocco Batarina. Chris?
Well, Rocco scored goals. He scored an important goal against Cartagena. Rahmani didn't show anything. But you all seem to forget about one player who didn't even make it to the half of the season, which is Castel. You all seem to forget about Castel. So I give you the opportunity to change your decision. But for me, it's Castel. He didn't bring anything.
basically we've had some poor strikers, guys. Paul Henhan.
Right, I've got 2 written down here because I think I put in our group chat was there a minimum number of games that you had to play to get this award? So I've gone with one where there's no minimum games, which was Castell, because there was no way on earth he was a football player. Not for me. Whenever he was on the park, he didn't look as if he'd ever played the game before, despite scoring. But then it was a tap in. Chris would have scored that one. But Yanis Rahmani for me, on the other category of having played a fair bit. The start of the season, he was in the team quite regularly, and I think there was a bit of an excitement about him coming back again. But we were warned by Tenerife supporters that he was shocking for them as well, and he was shocking for us as well. He contributed absolutely nothing to the team at all, whether he was starting, whether he was coming off the bench. So shading it for me is Rahmani for the amount of game time that he got and didn't produce anything.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that, to be honest, Paul. And two votes for Rocco, 2 votes for Yanis Rahmani, a mention for Castell, and another vote for Castell. I'm going to take the lead on this one, guys. I'm going to give it to Yanis Rahmani because he came back to Malaga as a player what we actually thought. He was kind of like a marquee signing, I guess. We all thought we were going to get this great player back. I personally wasn't a huge fan of him.
I never did.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of him back early in the COVID days, was it? But yeah, so Chris, why has Rahmani struggled so much this time? I mean, we're not. Kevin's not.
Because
Nico's head's been all over. Like, surely it was a great opportunity for him to revive his career.
I mean, you have to separate both things. In the COVID time, it was a strange time. Malaga was very much shit. Everybody was weak that season. We survived through luck, most of all. So it's very easy to stand out when the rest of the team has the level of, I don't know, has the level of the average Cyprus football team. Then it's very easy to stand out. And this season, well, I don't know. I said it throughout the season, or when we signed him, don't be so happy with him signing because he stood out in a moment where the rest of the team had the same level as a relegation team in Cyprus. It's easy to stand out then.
Yeah,
I expected this, to be honest.
it's a strange season once more for Rahmani, or is it a strange season? Joe, with I think Paul mentioned there about obviously Tenerife fans kind of warned us that Rahmani is not what he was. He had failed spells at Eibar. Where next for Rahmani, Joe? Surely when you go to a newly promoted team and still make absolutely zero impact on that club, where next for him?
Cyprus.
Yeah. They can join Kevin in Cyprus. I don't know. Maybe he can join NASA and see if that his shot is still floating in space. But yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not been great. It's hard to know. Obviously, also, I mean, these days he's 30, so still got time on his side, but he's struggled, I think, to find a Segunda club right now, and it's not been great.
He's running out of time, isn't he, effectively? So the Chumbo Award for the 24-25 season is none other than our former loan signing, Yanis Rahmani. But guys, I've had enough talking about this shit. Let's speak about why we are here. Let's speak about who has been the Malaga Player of the Year for this season. I've got a feeling that we might all already know who's going to get this. But so our Biznaga of the season. This is the one what any player would want. We get several Malaga players phoning the Guiricast trying to stump a couple of votes up, but we stick to our guns, and I'm going to take the lead on this one, guys. I haven't done one all night. I've got some honourable mentions. I've got an honourable mention for Chupete for what he has done since coming into the first team. Also for Rafa, who I believe is going to have a big say on what happens with Malaga next season. David Rubia, for me, has probably had his best season in a Malaga shirt. I think he's been great. He bleeds for Azul y Blanco. But for me, it's Don Alfonso Herrero. 100%. The amount of points that he's won us, not only in this season, but also the last season. He's
But last
made
season doesn't count, Luke.
I know
Last season,
he's made the captain's armband his own. He's a real leader of the club. The fans love him. We love him here at the Guiricast. He's just been announced the goalkeeper of the year in Segunda. I guarantee he'd probably fucking win it in La Liga if he was there. And I am so surprised La Liga clubs aren't coming around sniffing for him. But my player and Biznaga of the year is Mr. Senor Alfonso Herrero. Joe.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on honorable mentions. La Rubio is a close second for me, but I also agree with you on the Biznaga of the season is Alfonso Herrero. Like you said, he won goalkeeper of the season, most clean sheets. I think he had 77% save percentage as well, which is crazy. And especially in the first half of the season, the amount of points that he saved and also won for the club. Yeah, it's hard to look past that. Maybe we're getting boring now singing his praises, but you can't help it when a goalkeeper is that important. It's one of the most important positions on the pitch because they're so isolated. But there's always confidence in him. He's gonna save the day when he needs to. So yeah, player of the season for me, Biznaga of the season for me is Alfonso Herrero.
He's that good. He's that good. Chris Marquez.
I'm not going with Don Alfonso Herrero. Why? Because
he didn't score this season.
He didn't score this season, and he did last season.
Because he's been texting his mate.
Not at all. But Alfonso Herrero won it last season, and I think he was more important. Well, the same as important as last season, but David La Rubia. It's very good to have a goalkeeper you can trust. But if it wasn't for David La Rubia, we wouldn't have scored any goals this season because he was everything we needed. We had attacking wise, and he has been so important for Malaga this season. It's crazy how important he was. And definitely the last weeks. So I have to go with David La Rubia, who also lives in Benalmádena now, by the way.
Great answer, Chris Marquez. Paul Henahan, your Biznaga of the season.
Again, Joe's been reading my notes. David La Rubia has been fantastic, more so from about December onwards. And as Chris says, he's really driven that forward momentum for the attacking midfielders and the forwards, but you can't see past Don Alfonso. You've mentioned that he's all the clean sheets, the goalkeeper of the season in Segunda. He's been there, driving the team forward with that captain's armband. There's not much more to say for me. He's Biznaga for the season.
Yeah, he just leads by example. I've got a feeling we already know Sergio's, but we'll cut across to Sergio
this
anyway.
one's quite easy as well. I'm going to go with Yannis Rahman in podcast before. Absolutely terrible player. Star prize. Who has been your player of the season? For me, I'm going to go with David La Rubia when he's been.
So again, just to confirm, Yannis Rahman definitely isn't Sergio's Biznaga of the season. It is David La Rubia. So, guys, the important award of the season, they're all important. Every one of them is important. But the Guiricast Player of the Season 2024-25 is Don Alfonso Herrero. Do we raise a beer for the guy?
Absolutely.
Don Alfonso,
Agua.
El Capitano.
Well deserved.
But just to extend the chat, guys, David La Rubia, for me as well, not only just attacking wise, he's grown a pair of bollocks. And I mean this by he gets stuck in. He works everything what a Malaga player should play like with that badge on is David La Rubia. It means so much to him, Paul, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that means so much, and you can see that in his attitude and his play as well. And as you say, yeah, he's got the cojones. You know, he's battling and fighting back for the ball and the defensive duties, running back and taking that forward with the whole driving the team forward. And it was, the last game of the season there against Burgos, we're 2-0 down, and that just epitomised exactly what he's been like for the last 6 or 7 months. He never gave up. He drove the team on, and he got the assist for the first goal, and it was his running that basically brought the second goal as well. Never gives up. Doesn't matter what the score is. Doesn't matter what time on the clock is. He's always going forward. He's always fighting for the ball. He's always tracking back. Yeah.
Guys, we mentioned a couple of youth players there as well. Chupete, he came in from January, a steady start, but looking back at the numbers, he won us 6 points. You take away those 6 points, it puts us right in there, Joe, doesn't it? The importance of Chupete after the failings of Sergio Castel, Rocco Batrina, we couldn't put all our reliance on a 36-year-old Dione, could we?
Yeah. No, and I think there's also, it's clear why there was some doubts as well about Chupete stepping up. I think he scored very early on, then after that he struggled for a while, but the last month or so he's really stepped up. And like I said, winning 6 points in a relegation battle is huge, but also I think knowing that there's a striker that other players can start to rely on probably also helped the confidence of the rest of the team as well. Just going into next season, the output needs to improve. Even though Rubio, a great player, but I think we spoke about it, only got his first assist of the season, I think in the third to last game. Probably not his fault. He probably put a lot of opportunities on the plate as a striker. Again, and also again, shout out to Rafa, of course, really big goal, I believe, away at Eibar.
Chris,
Malaga have incredible young players.
Chris, something we didn't mention between us all, but we all know how defensively well Malaga can play at times. A shout out for the likes of Einar, Nelson Monte. For me, a personal favourite as of the end of the season. Again, a player who's came from absolutely nowhere, Mr. Reliable, Diego Murillo. Have you been happy with the defensive players this season?
Yeah. And the way it looks, nobody's leaving in our defense. So that's good, because I think we really have a strong defense. Is our strongest line on the pitch. So I hope nothing changes there. I know that Nelson Monte has another year contract. I think Einar has another year contract. Pastor. So Dani Sanchez renewed. I don't know what will happen. We have to see, because transfer period is coming. People will leave.
Yeah.
And new people will join. We have to see what we want to keep and what will go. But more important, maybe we also have to do some rating. So, some ratings. So, I thought from 1 to 5, you can give 5. No, we do from 1 to 5. You can give max, because on on Travelbird also the max is 5. So you can rate. You can give 5 control towers on the airport for each. So one control tower is very bad, and 5 control towers is like a 10. How would you guys rate the overall season? Luke.
Well, for me, our main goal was survival, and we've done that by 8 points, losing 1 game in our first 16 Segunda fixtures, and only losing 3 before the turn of the year. Maybe that was actually our downfall, because we had done so well in that first half of the season, and it has really burnt out, I guess. But I'll be honest, I think we've had a good season. I said if we survive by 1 goal, I'll be happy. 5 points separated, 17th and 9th place in a very tight league, a tough league, boys. It's a very tough league. Anybody can beat anybody. Youth players have stepped up. Overall, I'm giving this. I did work it out as a 10, but I will give this it's going to be a 4 for me, guys. And again, there's no right and wrong answers. You can have this as a 1, a 7, or whatever. It don't matter. But yeah, for me, For me, it's a 4, equivalent an 8 out of 10.
4 control towers for Luke. Paul.
I got the wrong memo because I was doing out of 10 as well. So
Yeah.
so I did 6.5 out of 10. Basically because we had a great start to the season, but then we had that blip which pulled us potentially close to that relegation zone and the battle down there. And I didn't think we played particularly well in that. But overall, the season was all about survival. And going back to Luke's point, I don't think we played particularly bad over the season. And the only game I can remember us getting really outclassed in was Elche at home. They played pretty well at the away game just there as well. But so I don't think we were particularly good in that period. I mean, we didn't create a lot of chances, and that was why I scored them down. So 6.5, I would say 7 out of 10. So that's 3.5. Do you want me to round it up or down, Chris?
Whatever you want.
Okay, 3.
Chris Marquez really has put the cat.
Chris Marquez really has
put. Chris has put the cat amongst the pigeons here. It's caught us all a bit off.
Scattered.
Yeah, of course, that's always fun to do.
Yeah,
Joe.
3 control towers and 1 in construction. There you go.
Joe, how many control towers?
I also had 8 out of 10, which I think converts to a 4. Although 4 out of 5 sounds stronger than 8 out of 10, so maybe it's like 3.7 or something. But I think, like you both touched on, objective of the season was to survive. That was achieved. Of course, some very tricky moments, some really negative football, probably too many draws. Of course, like I said, drawing away, winning at home can be great, but there was too many draws, especially in the first part of the season. But I think with the resources that the club have or don't have, maybe, and the lack of signings, etc., or at least signings that cost some money, I think the players, the manager did a really good job to, in a very competitive league, to be secured with a few games to go. So yeah, I'll round it up to a 4 as well. 4 out of 5 for the season, or 8 out of 10.
I'm giving it a 2.5, 2.5 control towers. Because we draw the most of the season. I don't think it was a good season at all. I've seen glimpses of good football, but I think we never really dominated. So I'm giving it a 2.5. We're safe, but that's about it in my opinion.
Bringing it back, guys, you lot back home aren't the only ones wondering what this control tower thing is.
It's a reference to Yanis Ramani.
I thought that, but Chris Marquez, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, guys, the one last thing what I want to ask you, I suppose it's a double question, and I'll go to Joe first. Joe, what is the most important place we improve, i.e. signing, and is Sergio Pellicer going to be our manager on the first day of the season?
Let me go to the second one first. I guess the second one also depends on what could happen to the club itself. I think there's all the rumors around the Qatar group buying it, FSG from Liverpool as well. I think there's another group as well that was rumored. I think if nothing changes, then I think PSA will still be there. If a new group comes in, then there could be a change, new direction, whatever. Let's see. Position to strengthen, I think the obvious one is striker. I think it's probably only going to be Chupete for now. That's not enough to go into the season, although he had a great end to the season. I think we would agree that the defense is looking good. As long as there's not too many outgoings, then I think the defense is solid. But either some attacking player. I think a forward for sure, a centre forward for sure, but also probably a wide player. But if I had to say one, a striker, because that's what Malaga were missing most of the season, and that's what also needs to improve.
Chris, obviously, again, the vital position, what you'd like us to improve, and we have a player coming back from injury sometime soon, I believe, a guy who went on loan to Marbella and unfortunately got injured straight away. I know you're a huge fan of him. Is there a future at Malaga for Musa?
I don't think so anymore, if I'm honest, but he has a contract till 28, I believe. But before we go into that, because I'm going to reply to your second question you asked Joe, and I'm going to work around it a bit, because I don't think Malaga is being sold this summer. If it will be sold, it will take much longer than just this summer. So I don't see that happening. Lauren already said in his press conference that Pellicer will be the man on the bench next season. So I don't think there's any questions left because Pellicer wants to continue and Lauren wants him to be on the bench and he still has a contract. And if there's one position I would change, it wouldn't be on the pitch. It would be off the pitch. And I think it's time. And this is where I get very serious. I think it's time for Jose Maria Munoz to step away from the club. He has done his job. It's now time for another financial administrator to step in, because I think the way he's leading the club isn't how he's supposed to lead a football club. And I think with his tidiness, Malaga will be in Primera Federación next season, and all the decisions that are being made. If you want to keep your money in your pocket, I think at the end of the day, it will come for you, and you will be in Tercera División again, or in Primera FF, how you want to call it, because the whole thing at the press conference of Lauren, which I watched live after the end of the season, was just a ridiculous show of nonsense by saying that your project is the youth. I think the youth is important to add to your team, but it can never be the basis of your team. The youth should never be the basis of the team. And if we didn't learn from the past 5 years where everything at Malaga Club de Football was based on the youth, and we've seen how the past 5 years of Malaga Club de Football where they were horrible. We have been struggling for survival every season. I don't think that's a project. I think that's a way of covering up that the most important thing is to keep money on the bank, which I think it's nonsense and very dangerous. And I think it's a sign of not knowing how to run a football club, having no idea of how to lead a football club. And I think it's also a way to cover up all the mistakes you have made over the past few seasons with Castel, Rocco Baturina, Juan Hernandez, Juanpe, Sangali, Antonito leaving the door for free, not accepting the bid for Kevin last season. I think it's a big cover-up to call it all, to have as a strategy to opt for the youth, because I think that's not a strategy. I think that's just a cover-up and a way of not spending money. And if there's one thing I've learned from the past 5 years, is that if you put too much pressure on youth players, not only will they leave the door towards Cyprus for free, but you don't gain any money, because we didn't gain any money on any youth players who have been here for the 5 years, except for Andres Calvo or Alex Calvo. And I think it's ridiculous. I think it's really ridiculous. And if Jose Maria Munoz doesn't step away this season or this summer, I think it's going to be a very tragic next season.
Strong words from Chris Marquez and wise words as well. Paul, finally, a position you'd like to see us strengthen, and also not so much a question, but our last season in La Rosaleda for a few years is ahead of us. how important is it to, one, continue the fortress, and two, just to fucking enjoy La Rosaleda?
Well, I mean, second question first there. And the second part of that is we enjoy it anyway, don't we? For all the times we go there, we have a fantastic time. But yes, I mean, La Rosaleda has been a fortress, and it's probably dragged us through this season. And it's sort of, I'm going to touch on what Chris said there as well. You know, this is our last season in La Rosaleda until it gets refurbished for the World Cup in 2030. We need to be in a position as a club that we can compete away from La Rosaleda. And to have that, we need to have a good sound base and to be able to spend money on players that we need to be able to do that. And Chris said exactly what I was thinking of when you asked Joe the first question there. What do we need? Well, we need to be able to spend money is the first thing. People need to be able to open the purse strings and be able to let the club buy players that we need and not rely on youth. Going back to your first question, tying in that in, we need a striker or two strikers. We've said we've got Don Alfonso in the goal. The defence, if they all stay, is solid enough with the backup. We've got Luismi there and Izan Marino holding midfielders in there. Creativity we've got, I think, in abundance. If we get the right strikers to come in and be able to make the movements to be able to get on the end of some of the balls that are played in there, rather than standing still. Chupe's done that. Chupe's come in and done a great job, as Joe said. It's been difficult for him just coming into and finding his feet in the first team. It's a big step up, but he's done that. But he needs a bit more experience to players around him to be able to bring him on as well. So we need to be able to spend money and get at least one, if not two, decent strikers in there. And I think if we can get that and get them working with the creative players that we've got, Dario Lorenzo coming back as well, David LaRubia, you know, these sort of players coming in, Lobetti helping out there as well. I think that could be a big game changer for us next season.
Yeah, you're spot on, Paul. You're spot on, guys. All these are spot on. Chris, fantastic words regarding the situation of the club. Joe, fantastic words about Sergio Pellicer. With all that said and done, guys, 2024-25 season, that is a wrap, man. Malaga had a goal to survive in this division, and they accomplished that. I would say quite comfortably, but with many tricky moments. We finished the season with the joint most clean sheets in the league. We had a goalkeeper who was voted the best goalkeeper and maybe the best player in the league. More youth players making the step up from Malaga Cantera. Atletico Malagueño having great success, dominating the league on their title bidding run. Hopefully, Malaga will continue improving next season. Guys, I've loved every second of it. Paul Henahan, thank you very much for tonight.
Thank you as always, and thank you for hosting. Vamos Malaga.
Joe Edwards, thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, as Paul said, thank you very much for hosting. Successful season, goal achieved, and yeah, hopefully next season will bring some more good moments, and hopefully see you guys there. Vamos Malaga.
Thank you very much to Sergio and to Alex. Oh, no. Oh, Alex couldn't be here. Alex is busy, blah, 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 blah. Chris Marquez.
Tonight.
Chris Marquez, the new Dickie Bowman. Thank you very much for tonight, sir.
Thank you, Luke, Joe, whatever your name is, Sergio. What was your name? Matt, Nick, I don't know. Thank everybody for being on the Guiricast this season. The whole Guiricast team. Great effort from everyone. Also the boys who left. Let's not forget it's our 5th anniversary, so we are going to do something in a live thing somewhere at the end of the month, if we can have everything planned with everybody's personal life schedules. There are a few surprises which are very cool. If you need a chimney, go to the chimney man, send us a private message. And thank you all for listening this season. I hope you are with us next season. If we are still alive next season, you never know what happens over summer. But yeah, is there anything else I want to add? Oh yeah, and I want to end with Jose Maria Dimisión.
Finally, guys, I am raising a fine bottle of Malaga Victoria. The main thank you of 2024-25 to all you guys back home for being part of the Guiricast. If you have liked the awards show and the season as a whole, please, as always, like, share, retweet, leave a review, and the usual. I have been your host for Stephen Luke Chambers. Thank you. Enjoy your summers, guys. And as always, vamos Malaga.